Hello everyone, welcome back to Manufactoria 2022. It's been like, for me, I'm not sure how long, 3 weeks maybe? About that? Maybe 4? Since I last recorded an episode? I know that, well, as I record this, there's a few days left of videos, and I still haven't solved the last level, and I had been saying that I wasn't going to do it until it was made more accessible, basically. And I thought that might not happen anytime soon, so we might not ever have a last level solve. I don't remember how much of this I talked about or just like left sort of unsaid. But after complaining about it after me complaining about it a couple times, two different people implemented a fix. One, a viewer of this channel, implemented a simple mod where mouse wheel scrolls, and it kind of scrolls arbitrarily, even into places that are totally unreasonable, which is cool, I think. And you can mouse wheel drag to pan, and it like takes you into places you aren't supposed to be, and so on, which is again kind of funny. But like 12 hours after that or something, Pleasing Fungus also, or almost 24 hours actually. Pleasing Fungus also implemented a simple scroll, which looks like this. You just have 2 scroll levels, and you can use these things to scroll. Or the arrow keys if you're insane. I would never take my hand off the mouse to touch the arrow keys just so I can point at something with the mouse. I think that the scroll level that Pleasing Fungus chose is quite a reasonable one. I can fairly easily see the colors of all the stuff here, so that's cool. I appreciate that. This is only present on very large levels, by the way. If you're on like a medium-sized level, this extra button is not here, so it doesn't get in the way. I think it wouldn't hurt to have it there all the time, personally, because you might want it on a smaller level if you see even worse than I do. But you know, whatever. For me, it works fine. But I actually think that the controls. I think I like the. This is a better UI for scrolling, zooming, because it gets me to the right zoom level easily. But then I've got these fucking arrows I don't ever want to touch in my life. So I think that the way I'm going to zoom is use the mod to zoom in and out and to drag, and basically ignore this new button. Sorry, Pleasing Fungus. It is kind of funny, you're hearing a beep every time I zoom, because in that patch, Pleasing Fungus also changed it so that the mouse wheel, which is what you use to scroll with the mod, rotates the item in hand. So that would be pretty annoying if I were scrolling all the time. But I'm hopeful that I'm just going to like get to this zoom level and stay here for a while. Or, I don't know. Anyway, you'll just have to ignore the occasional beep. So, recall that the goal for this level is to add 2 binary numbers. And this was like the capstone of the original Manufactoria game as well. And so I think I talked about this. I know I talked about this, but I don't remember how right I was at the time, so I'll say it again. In the original Manufactoria, I believe I never did finish Edition. I definitely at some time said that I did, because I thought I had, but I now think that's untrue. There's like a lot to do. And I think, 10 years later, I have a better understanding of like state machines and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I guess not. I had already been to college at the time, but I don't know. The puzzles make more sense in this game. I haven't been like as stuck as I was in the original Manufactoria. So I think I can finish this level. However, there's still a lot to do, and it's a big grind. So I suspect this will probably take at least 2 episodes. I don't think I can do it in one reasonable length episode, which is fine. I'm sure you guys are perfectly thrilled to have more videos. But also, another thing that I did to make this visible to me is like use a larger window than I usually do. And it's like messing with my recording setup a little bit, so I can't actually see the bottom of the screen where it says goal. Wait a minute, you can't either. Yeah, you can. So I can't see that. I could look at my OBS preview window if I really cared. But, okay, I did one other thing, which I don't usually do. So there'll be a little bit of jank as we switch around, because I wanted to show you. I started by making a little janky diagram here. Because this is, as I said, a complicated task, and if you try to do the whole thing just in your head at the very low level of placing Manufactoria objects, I think it would be easy to get lost. And so, I'm no wizard with GraphViz, haha, but I can like get by, and I found this online, GraphViz editor where you type in some GraphViz or some dot, I guess, on the left, and it outputs GraphViz on the right. So I kind of put together the basic state diagram that I want to have, and this, in a really like concrete state diagram, each state would represent a scanner, and each arrow out of it would represent an arrow out of the scanner. And you can see that, like, for many of these, they do look like that. For example, this has outputs for blue, yellow, and red. But this is a slightly abstract state diagram in that I don't intend for each state to represent a single scanner. The instructions on the state are like what to do while you're in that state. And if the input were just a scanner, there's nothing to do. You just scan something. So here, when I have a node, I have several nodes that say copy to yellow. And what I mean by that is copy input until you find a yellow and remember what the last item you copied was. And then transition out of this state according to what that item was. Not according to the last thing you read, which of course would be a yellow. And so I have several of them that do that. Here I have a state called append red, which is not really a decision point. It's just like a common place for these arrows to get to that explains what they're going to do and then where they go. So if we read, if the last thing before the first yellow is red, we get to here. And then if the last thing before the second yellow is blue, we go here. We've read a red and a blue, which totals 1. So we copy until the third yellow. So this append red kind of encapsulates the operation of copy till the last yellow and then write something in front of it before replacing it. So if you read a red and then a blue, or a blue and then a red, you write a red and go back to the start. So this is fairly simple, I think. And if you read a blue and then a blue, you write a blue and go back to the start, because the total was 0. We're going to ignore this stuff in the middle for a minute. You see I've labeled these carry and no carry. I could have labeled this like cleanup or something, but I didn't. So it put them all together anyway for me. And then there's this carry state where you enter... I'm trying to remember, do I actually need a carry here? Yeah. So this is the group of states where you like need a carry bit to represent what's happening. Okay, I can do that. So this bizarrely, oh right, GraphViz chose to put, the layout engine chose to put the start of the loop at the bottom instead of the top here, because it likes to lay things out from top to bottom, which is nice, and nothing, you never start the loop until after you've already gone through it, so it kind of figured it was wasteful to put it up here. I'm sure there's some way to override it, and this would have been a more aesthetically pleasing place for it, but whatever. So the start of the loop is like you're copying through the first number and remembering that you have a carry bit, right? If you get a blue, you can say, "Oh, I didn't." You can pretend you didn't have a carry bit and you read a red, and switch back over to this part of the state machine. But if you read a red, then you kind of have a running total of 2. And when you scan through the next one, you either end up with a running total of 2, in which case you write a blue and then go back to the top of this loop, or a running total of 3, in which case you write a 1 and go back to the beginning of this loop, this carry loop. And the other transition is from the no carry state into the carry state if you read a red from the first number and a red from the second number. Then you go over here and pretend that in the carry state you read a red and then a blue. It's kind of the same thing as carry. this right here? Yeah, this is right. So starting in the carry state and reading blue-red is the same as reading red-red. And starting in the carry state and reading blue-blue is the same as starting in the no carry state and reading blue-red or red-blue. So I think that all sort of makes sense. I chose to use only yellows instead of having like greens for my reminder thingies, just so it would be easier to clean up yellows at the end. Otherwise, we would have had like, oh, in this cleanup mode, you have to remove a green, then a yellow. In this cleanup mode, you have to remove a yellow, then a green. In this cleanup mode, you remove 2 greens or whatever, something like that, depending on which number ran out first. One thing I'm not... Okay, let's talk about cleanup. By the way, I can't find a way to like narrow this part of the window, so there's all this wasted space over here, and I can't make the graph bigger, but if... these are my cleanup states when one of the numbers runs out. If, when you're trying to copy to read the last digit on the left, if you find 0 digits, there is no digit, then we transition to here and say clean up, but the left number was empty. In that case, we should just concatenate what remains of the right number with what we've already written for the output. Because we've copied the lowest significant digits, and all the highest significant digits will be whatever's left in the right number. So we just search for the last 2 yellows and erase them, and then we're done. If we've read a single red, and then the right number runs out, well, if the last digit on the left was red, and then the right number runs out, we wind up here via this path. At which point, I believe, we can write a 1, which will be at the front of our output, exactly where we want it, and then erase the 2 yellows, concatenating what remains. Maybe it isn't so simple. I might be positioned wrong. Because I want to like erase the 2 yellows, but make sure that the cursor ends up in the right place, i.e. at the beginning of the number instead of the middle. And if I've just read the second number and found it's empty, then I can copy the entire second number, erasing the yellow at the end of it. And then there will be another yellow immediately, which marks the beginning, the end of our tape, or the beginning of the left number. And so if I erase that, the left number will be at the front of my tape, which is what I want. So that works out. Okay. Cool. I think there's probably some state that gets into here where erasing the 2 yellows leaves the tape position wrong. I guess it would be if you like... If you find that the first number runs out, are you okay? You're also okay, because then... because we have 3 yellows on the tape. But the second and the third one... No. I don't know. Maybe. So if we read a blue and then our right number runs out, we put a blue, which is the last digit of our left number, and then copy to the beginning Ah, I see. Every time we get to one of these cleanup nodes, the number that we just read ran out. Which means there's still a yellow in front of the other number, right? And so that'll be the last one I get to? Or if the left number runs out, then the yellow at the end of the output is still positioned in front of the right number, and that'll... Okay, so this maybe all works out. I don't know. Anyway, and if we found one number left, and then if we have one digit left in at least one number, and the other number is empty, then we get to here and just write out the digit we were hanging on to, and then erase the extra yellows, and we're done. The interesting one that I don't think I can avoid this is if we had carry. Wait a minute, is this right? This doesn't look right. If we had carry, but the left number is empty, I can't just write a 1. I have to add it to what's remaining in the right number and keep going until I finally don't have carry, right? So here in this carry where cbit is not organized at all well. Why is it not? Am I searching in the wrong? I don't understand. Oh, it's C_bit0. God, nothing makes any sense. All right, this is the node I'm thinking of. If we detect that the first number has run out and we have a carry, we can't go to 1 cleanup because we have to make sure this carry bit gets dealt with by adding it to something on the right. And so instead of going to here, I think we just basically go to here and say, oh, I read a blue. So we erase this node. Wait, that's NC_bit0. This one. And cbit0 like that. Now it's chosen to move everything like, oh my god. Oh, because I never go to cleanup from over here. I see. That's nice. Thank you, GraphViz layout engine. Now the cleanup nodes are not shared. They belong only to the non-carry mode. Yeah, so I don't think there's any way to ever clean up after if you have any carry. So that's why I've annotated this is blue-yellow and this is blue-yellow. If you have any carry still and one of the numbers runs out, you kind of have to keep going. If you were carrying and you read a red on the left and the right ran out, you pretend the right had a blue and keep going. And so that all seems fine to me. So that whole like 20-minute introduction out of the way. So how do I... Like I said, this is different from how I usually do it. Okay. Now we just have to implement that insane diagram. I don't know how it could be hard. I'm not gonna show the diagram again. I'm just gonna keep it not show it on camera. I'm just gonna try and keep it for my own reference. Let me fiddle with. Oh god, the layout is so I hate the way this website like requires you to spend half of the vertical space, the horizontal space on. Can I hit download? What happens if I hit download? It makes an SVG. Okay. Can I just like open that? Does that work? Okay. Now that dumb website is... I mean, it's a great website. I love it. I just... it didn't make it easy for me to view only the diagram. So, there you go. I'm just trying to lay out my windows so I can see shit. can't see OBS now. Okay, whatever. All right, so I have this here, which is what is this? Oh, this is, these nodes don't go, these nodes are not connected to anything. Okay. I think I was just putting those down to test like how stuff looked while zooming. Yeah, that's right. So this is kind of my classic like copy everything and remember the last structure. And it's looking for yellows. It goes to accept, which is not what we want. But okay, this, right? And we start by, I think I made this clear. We need to add 2 yellows to the tape after the second number. 1 to indicate the end of the second number, and 1 to indicate the end of my output number. So this is kind of our... This is our non-carry start node. And it's fed into by the start node of the entire puzzle. If we get a yellow, okay, let's write that out first. What does the diagram say I should do if I find a yellow? It turns off the music every time I click away. Whatever, you guys are just gonna have to put up with it. We go to left cleanup. What is left cleanup? It's search for the next 2 yellows and then accept. Erase the next 2 yellows. So that should be simple enough. And that is probably going to be, hopefully anyway, going to be reused by 3 different nodes. So we want to put this in a place where it's reasonably easy to get to, and I guess the middle of the puzzle is as good as anything. So... I've forgotten what all the buttons are. So I'm going to put it here, figuring we probably want to get at it from the top and the bottom somehow. And as long as we read blues, we write them back. As long as we read reds, we write them back. When we get a... It's impossible to get a green, so I don't need the 4-way scanner. There are no greens. So I can actually say... like that, until you get a yellow. And then, in fact, just... copy that. Oh my god, I thought he changed it so right-click doesn't do this. I'm actually going to just go mention that real quick. All right, we're back. So I think this is like the cleanup state handled. And so we can already test this a little bit. If our left input is empty, we should just output the right input, right? So that would look like this. So if you have 0 or nothing plus, what is that, 6, you should get 6. And this is such a simple thing, I probably wouldn't have tested it if I'd played this episode 3 weeks ago. But I'm so out of practice that it's going to make me happy to see this go through the end without exploding. Robot handled right. Okay, great. Probably don't run all the tests yet, though. Alright, what state shall we handle next? How about something involving a 0, because those are the simplest and won't involve going into the carry state at all. What do I do in the case that the last thing I saw was a 0? I do this again. I copy all but the last digit. with a different behavior if it was yellow. So I should just be able to take... And there's only one entry into this state? Yes, so I don't need to make it easy to get to from anywhere else. So I grab this, paste it, and put it here. And blue goes left, which seems fine. All right, having done that, I've read a blue, and then, let's say for the sake of argument, a yellow. What do I do next? I write a 0 and then go to the cleanup state. So this yellow wants to get here. Okay, kind of annoying, but... Ah! Oh, I typed F instead of D, I see. All right, and now we can already test another piece of the factory. What have we just successfully handled? Well, we've handled the left number ending with 0 and the right number being empty. So we could try 1010 plus nothing. So this is 10? We should get a 10 now. I thought I said run test. No, I don't want to run the tests. I want to run this test. Hello? What's it mad about? Why can't I run a test? Test. Test. I see what the goal is. And when I say run test, now it works. What was... So enter works, but run test doesn't? All right, let me go report this as well. All right, I'm back. Just reported that in the Discord. We're kind of like beta testing this. This patch came out like an hour and a half ago or something. So not a huge surprise that there are some bugs. Also, I don't think I mentioned, I spent like an hour on the diagram. So given that I'm planning to spend 2 hours implementing this, it is like a heck of a slog. Okay. Anyway, so I think though, this test of 10 plus nothing, we should correctly output 10 here. Let's see how that goes. No, that button doesn't work. Ah! Test, enter. So we copy a bunch of stuff, and hopefully we remember at the end of this that we read a blue. It's so slow, I shouldn't have picked alternating numbers for my test. Okay. And then we read 2 of the yellows. Oh, I need to write a blue in this. Okay. Oh, look how pleasant that's going to be. There's going to be a red arrow here. Oh. Uh-oh. There's too few yellows here. Ah, I didn't replace this yellow when I was finished with it. And I do just want to write it back. I don't want to do anything else weird. We read one of the yellows, we copy until the other one. I don't like this very much. All right, what went wrong? We We have the right number, but it's like in the wrong order, or the cursor is positioned wrong or something. Yeah, right. We have all the right digits, but they're in the wrong places, which suggests the cursor is positioned wrong. That's a bit annoying. We may not be able to... Why is this wrong? So at the time that we get here, we have a 101, and we're hanging onto a 0 that belongs at the end of the tape. But we put it here. And then we copy stuff to be behind it. I see. Why does it belong at the end of the input? Why isn't the beginning of the output, which I think is where I put it, why isn't that okay? Right, because here I've read the input and thrown away its yellow. And then I've read, I've replaced its yellow. I've read the yellow for the end of the second number, which is the beginning of the output. So the number that I'm positioning right now is kind of at the beginning of the output, not at the end, because I just read the yellow indicating the beginning of the input. Okay. Well, so maybe I won't try to reuse these nodes. Because I have to, like, remember what I'm writing at this point here. Yeah, okay. Let's just not reuse those. I'll get killed on scanners and stampers, but... Ah! There. And, there's only 2 more nodes like this, so I think it's, like, fine. We still want to take something like this, copy it and paste it, and put it here. Except that we want a blue output here first. Is that right? Oh, interesting. The scroll mod only works in edit mode. It doesn't work in test mode, so I couldn't recenter to look at all of this. Okay. So if I say test, test to here, it gets a yellow, it reads another yellow, and then it outputs my blue. This is still going at the beginning, isn't it? Okay, it needs to be at the end here, after I've copied both yellows, I guess. is programming by trial and error. Oh my god, I'm like running out of vertical space already up here, aren't I? We did it. Okay, cool. Pleasing Fungus is asking if I can replicate this bug about the run tests not working. Let me see if I can. I mean, I could just send him the footage, I guess, but let me see if I can respond to that real quick. All right, we're back, and I mean, look at this. We've taken up only most of the factory and handled only empty inputs. God, am I gonna have space for all this? Is there some simpler algorithm? Like, because how many of these copy until yellows do I need? Looking at my diagram, 5? I need 5 blocks that look like this. I guess that's not so bad. And I've already put in 2 of them. And I think those really are the meat of the program. The cleanup states are simple. The going back to the start of a loop is pretty simple. So I remain optimistic that I'll have space to finish this, I guess. All right, now I think we can do the bottom of this easily by just copying what's up here. We vertical... Oh, he changed the controls for this. Okay. W and S, both vertical mirror? Okay, that's nice. I could never remember whether Z or C is what I wanted, so... W and S, A and D, it's nice to have that. Z and C are now color flipping. Okay. So... I guess in some sense what I want here is a horizontal mirror and a color flip, which will only affect the blue stamper at the very bottom, but that's cool, I guess. Ta-da! Okay. Ah, I forgot to copy the this important yellow stamper here. So, now I think we've handled the case where the first input ends with red and the second is empty. So let's confirm that. Like so. This run test button is still broken? No, it works now. Oh, I have to mention that. Okay. So, whatever. I should stop running off to talk to Discord, but I can't help myself. I'm a millennial, I'm addicted to the internet. And I think this is as tall as the machines are going to have to get. So the fact that we're running out of vertical space, not a problem. And even if it were, well, I was going to say we could rotate these, but I bet we can't. All right. So the hard part is like everything, right? That's kind of what the hard part is. What does the shift button do? Puts you into rotate mode. Okay, whatever. I don't really understand the concept of modes in this game's UI. But I can refer to my diagram and figure out what I'm supposed to do, right? So if I started in no carry, I copied to yellow and I got a blue, and then I copied to yellow. Oh, some of these arrows are crossing over each other. And I didn't get a yellow, because I just handled that blue, yellow. That's this. But instead I got, like, blue, blue. Then we just write a blue and go back to the start. No. We append a blue. copying over the remainder of the output number and then putting a blue at the end of it and go back to the start. So, no, I don't want that. I want one of these. One of these. Whoa, okay. We copy the input until we get to a yellow. We write a blue, and then we put the yellow back. I don't need that. I can re-enter here, actually, which means I probably don't need this. So what case is this handling? This is handling the case where both numbers end with 0, so I output a 0. Oh my god. Organizing this is not... I'm getting nervous again. Where do I want to put the carry half of the factory? How much does it have to do? It just has 2 copies, and it needs to be able to get kind of to and from the right side of the factory. But importantly, it doesn't have to get back here. It needs to be able to get to here, I think. So I guess I want it over this way, which is fine. That's where it is. Okay, but we have implemented some more stuff that we should test, right? I believe we've now handled the case where both numbers contain only blues. So this loop should actually run multiple times. Wait a minute. Something doesn't look right here. No, it's fine. This is still part of the loop, but the yellow happens to let out here. Okay. I wasn't watching as carefully as I should have. I've been erasing yellows. Okay, that's maybe not great. Alright, so... when we go through... okay, when I go through this... somewhere around here, I need to write a yellow. Probably right after this? Because I've just finished reading and removing both the last digit of the second number and also the yellow for the second number. And I don't want to write into that yellow, into the second number. So I should immediately put a yellow in. Like so. Okay, run that test again. So now, each number is shorter by 1 blue, so I believe that that works. Oh, that ran backwards. I thought it would run to the next time we get there. Hang on. This is in the wrong place. There shouldn't be a yellow at the beginning of the input. How did you get there? So I wrote a yellow. I copied the rest of the second number and ate its yellow. Now I'm consuming... No, I'm replacing the yellow in between the second number and the output. And I'm copying the output, which is empty. And I'm writing a blue. So this looks right. Right, this is the state I thought I would be in. I want to add 0 and 0, 0, and what I have so far is a 0. So this looks okay, once through the loop. The second time, I guess having a non-empty bit here is what confuses me. So what happens? I read the 0 and I say, oh, okay, the first number's done. I replace its yellow. Then I copy a single blue, and I'm done reading the second number, and I replace its yellow. Now I copy... Oh wait, a plus at the beginning of the tape is fine if the left input is empty, which will happen after 2 runs through when I started with only 2. Okay, so this is correct. It's saying add nothing to 0, and so far you have 2 zeros. And you say, oh, add nothing, huh? Well, I know how to do that. Copy this 0. Copy this, and we output 3 zeros, which seems about right. We copied this one without looking at what it was, because there was no pair for it on the left. Okay. So, what have we handled? We've handled... You know, this is kind of how recursion works, and okay, this isn't technically recursion exactly, but it's like iteration, which is the same thing viewed through a different lens, where you have base cases, right? And they're like not very interesting, but you have to like do them, and when you're done, you're like, oh, I've handled a bunch of uninteresting cases, and it's like, what have you really done? And you've used up this gigantic pile of factory, right? But like, we have done a lot, right? We handled the left being empty, the right being empty. Well, okay, not quite. Because if the left... Oh yeah, I have. If the left ends with blue or red, and the right is empty, we've handled that. We've also handled the case where left is empty. Yeah, left is empty or right is empty. Those are both handled. Those are your termination conditions. And we've handled the case where both of them end with blue. You know, it's not rocket science, but it's science. It's engineering, maybe. Kind of. We could lay this out a little better. Yeah, let's do that. I might need the space, so I want that there, please. And I guess it's a little cleaner looking if I do this. Oh, don't run all the tests. They clearly don't pass. Okay, so what's next to handle? Find an arrow pointing nowhere and consult the diagram to see what you're supposed to do. I think I talked, yeah, I said the diagram, I made the diagram because it's just too much to hold in my head, while also dealing with layout concerns and translating from an abstract state machine to a concrete one. So, okay, here, if we've read a blue and a red, I actually should have this flipped. Because I want to treat a blue and a red the same as a red and a blue. So this node wants to get to the same place as this one. And does it need to also be gotten to by the carry part of the factory? I guess it does. Right? No? The carry part of the factory only transitions back to the normal part of the factory if the first bit it reads is blue. In which case, it goes back to here. So it never needs to get back to any of the other parts of the left side of the factory, or the non-carry part of the factory. Okay. So anyway, let's grab this. And horizontal. I just picked some stuff up and it hasn't made. Okay, whatever. Shift D works. So red blue and blue red both are gonna like use this space, and then eventually loop back to here. Which I think means I need to scoot this down a hair so that I have a pipe to let me through. I probably also want to move the whole factory to the right because this is where I've decided to put my carry part, and it's like maybe going to be the largest thing I have left to do. How am I for time, by the way? Under an hour, but not a lot under. You know, I think I'm gonna just declare a break here. I have like dreams of like, oh, I could push through it and be done in another 30 minutes. Look how fast things are going. But they're not really, and I'd rather be comfortable than not. So we're gonna take a break here, having implemented several base cases and a little bit of recursive cases, and hopefully finish it up in the next episode. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.